If you've recently started a print-on-demand store or you're thinking of getting started with one in 2025, it can be very nerve-wracking because there are so many things that can end up getting you terminated, banned, closing your store, and ultimately losing this business that you've spent so long to build. Now, you may not know this, but about 90% of shops that end up getting terminated on places like Etsy or Amazon merch is because of one single reason. So I'm going to share that with you, along with 6 other things that could potentially lead you to getting your shop terminated or getting kicked off a platform like Etsy or Amazon. And unfortunately, with both of these sites, most of the time, once you are kicked off of the platform, you are not welcome to create new accounts and get started again. So it's really vital to be taking precautions from the very beginning so that you don't risk putting your account in danger. Now, these are really, really simple things typically to implement. So it's not something that has to be daunting or scary, but just by empowering yourself with knowing what you should be doing, you are putting yourself steps ahead other people who are just out there winging it and hoping for the best. So let's not waste any more time, and we're just going to jump right into this list of 7 things that might be putting your Amazon merch or Etsy print-on-demand shop at risk. Now, the very first and probably most important thing you can do to safeguard your account when you are uploading and selling new items on Amazon or Etsy is simply trademark checking your designs, titles, and descriptions. Now, if you're totally new to print on demand, you might not even know how to go about this process. Now, thankfully, you don't need any fancy tools or paid subscriptions to be able to trademark check. There's actually a free website if you're selling in the United States called the Trademark Electronic Search System. It's basically just a government database that has a list of all of the live trademarks out there. So what you should be doing anytime you think of a new niche, a new design idea, if you want to upload a new item, is you should be taking the time to look up that phrase that you're maybe going to put on a sweatshirt or a t-shirt, or you're going to include in the title. Now, a lot of times we think of things and it seems like, oh, I've never heard someone say this. This should be totally safe to sell. It's my original idea. And come to find out that it's 100% trademarked, or there's really common phrases that you might not realize that someone actually owns the rights to. So taking the extra couple minutes to plug it into the search system can be a little bit annoying that you have to add this onto every single item. But what you are saving yourself from is if you don't do this, you might find yourself uploading an item that you didn't even know was trademarked, and that's going to flag your entire account, and you could lose your entire Amazon merch business. Your Etsy shop could get flagged. So it's really just best to make it a habit to build this into your processes, where every single time you're uploading a new item, you are going to check all of the keywords you're using in your titles and descriptions, as well as everything that is actually on the items you are selling. If you take nothing else from this list, this is probably the biggest thing you should be focused on and concerned about. Now, if you ever accidentally do run into an issue where you have infringed on somebody's trademark, don't panic immediately. Just go ahead and take down those items, and you should typically be good to go. But if this keeps happening, that's where you're going to run into real issues. So just do your due diligence and continue looking up trademarks every single time you upload new items. Now, the next big area that I see a ton of people getting their accounts banned or flagged for, especially on Etsy, is something that you might have not even thought about. And that is for having too many quality or printing issues with your items. So if you are selling t-shirts and over again, you are getting unhappy customers that are complaining because maybe they are getting a shirt that the quality just isn't there, the printing is a little bit off center, or the print is lifting off the item. If you over and over are getting a lot of quality control issues, if items are arriving broken, if things are arriving late, that can actually potentially flag your account with Etsy. They can review your shop, and you can actually get your whole account taken away. Now, because in print on demand, you aren't the person actually printing, packing, shipping, and making all those items, it's really important to work with a manufacturing partner that you trust and who you know is taking all of the right measures to have good quality, have items arrive fast and on time to customers, and to make sure that if there are any issues, they take care of them really fast. Now, the manufacturing partner that I work with for my own Etsy shop is Printify. You guys probably have heard of them before. And originally I loved them because they had really low prices and they have a ton of items in their catalog that you can sell on Etsy. But why I've stuck with them so long is that their quality is really just unmatched and their customer service is amazing. So rarely do I ever get an item that does have issues, but if that ever happens, they take care of it lightning fast. They're gonna get a replacement out to my customer. So that way I'm not having to deal with a bunch of defective items all the time. So it's just one less thing I have to worry about. So if you've been using a different manufacturer, you've been having issues with them, I really do highly suggest checking out Printify. I'll link all their information down below. They're totally free to use and sell with. But just whenever you are starting a print-on-demand business, it's really important to do your due diligence of who you are selling with, because there may be somebody out there who is a new manufacturer that's just popped up and maybe some of their items are a little bit less, like maybe $1 less for a t-shirt or something. So it sometimes could be tempting to go with the cheapest thing you can find out there. But if all of their items are going to be arriving late, if you're going to have a bunch of misprints you're dealing with, that's ultimately money that you're losing, customers that are unhappy, and potentially losing your account. So it's really worth it to go with somebody established and reputable who thousands of other people use as well. My choice is Printify. Can't recommend them enough. Now, the next thing that a lot of people do get their accounts flagged for that they don't even know was an issue is something that is really, really important if you are an Amazon merch seller, but also I've seen accounts get flagged on Etsy for similar things. So really important to be aware of either way, and that is profiting off of tragedy. Now, you might be thinking, well, I would never do something like that. I would never try to make money off of a bad thing that has happened, but sometimes it's a little bit more ambiguous about what it means to profit off a tragedy. So of course, if you are trying to profit off something that is just blatantly not good, if people have been harmed by something and you're making t-shirts or mugs about it, that is not a good look for Etsy or Amazon. So they want to get that off their accounts immediately. But another way that I've seen people kind of get tripped up by this is they make maybe shirts or sweatshirts that are like in support of survivors of certain tragedies, or for things like wars or crises that are going on. They make items that are showing support for a certain side or wanting to help victims of certain tragedies. And so there are really good intentions sometimes behind those, but what it comes down to is you are making money off of a terrible situation that has happened in the world. Even something like a natural disaster or an earthquake or like a huge flood or storm that has happened, you want to stay away from making items that you're going to profit from that are saying things like, I stand with this city or I'm here for blank. It just gets into a gray area that can immediately be flagged by a place like Amazon and your account can be closed. So if you've ever thought about making shirts or items like this, I just would give it a second thought. Even if other people are doing it, it's better to be safe than sorry. And you really don't want to be making money off of really terrible things that have happened to people. So best to just stay away. Now, another huge mistake that I see a lot of people making without even realizing is they are accidentally putting adult content on kids' clothing sizes. So on both Etsy and Amazon, it's really easy to expand your range of sizes outside of just like typical adult ones to include like 3T, 4T, all of those kids' sizes. And so neither platform have rules against selling things that maybe have curse words or adult content. Those are all fine to sell on platforms if you choose to do so, but you want to make sure you are not putting this on any kids' sizes, marketing this to kids at all. That's going to automatically flag your account if you are trying to sell, like, for example, a shirt with curse words on it or something profane to toddler sizes, especially if you have listings that include just every range of sizes out there and you kind of copy and paste the same type of listing for all your new uploads. You just want to make sure if you're ever venturing into these kind of categories of niches that you are taking off those kids' sizes. This is something a lot of people never even think about, but it can definitely flag your account and make it look like you're trying to do something a little bit shady by selling maybe inappropriate items to children. Now, the next thing that is a little bit of a gray area when it comes to being a print-on-demand seller is using tools that have upload automation. Now, especially on a place like Amazon Merch, this is technically against the terms of service to have a tool that is uploading all of your designs for you. Now, there are a lot of successful print-on-demand sellers that do use automation all the time in their shops and they aren't getting flagged. They know the processes to use, but sometimes people are getting their accounts terminated out of the blue. They're not really sure what they did. They're not selling trademarked items or anything inappropriate, but they were using some kind of automation tool to put a bunch of uploads in their shop every single day. So because this goes against the terms of service, they do have the right to kind of cancel your account anytime they want if you are using this. So just if you do use an automation tool, make sure you do your research and decide if it's worth it to take the risk to automate your shop in this way. Now, the next thing that is probably the biggest mistake I see a lot of beginners making, besides not trademark checking, is trying to keyword spam or add a lot of buzzwords in their items, in their listings that don't necessarily have to do with what they're selling. So what keyword spamming is just stuffing your title and your description full of those really important keywords you want to hit. So for example, if you were selling a shirt for cat mom, it might look like your title is like cat mom gift, best cat mom gift, funny cat mom gift for cute mom, and just keep having the same word over and over. And then same thing with your description. It's really important that you write your description as natural text. You want those to be real sentences that people can read, and you don't want to just put a bunch of keywords in there like cat mom hat, cat mom baseball hat, cat mom shirt. So that is what we call keyword stuffing. That can just kind of flag your listing and sometimes get it taken down. There are people that do that, but it's best to just stay away. Now, the other thing that can also flag your account on Etsy or Amazon is if you are stuffing your title and description with a bunch of keywords that are really trendy or popular right now, but they have nothing to do with the item that you're selling. So for example, like with that cat mom one, if you made a shirt for like cat lovers, but you saw that there is an event that's trending right now, so you just throw in a bunch of words about that really trending topic that tons of people are searching for because you want your listing to get seen. First of all, that's not going to help your SEO at all, because if people are looking for something specific and they happen to see your item, it's not going to be what they're searching for, but that actually can get your account flagged, and you could potentially get listings taken down or even get banned completely by just putting a bunch of buzzwords in your listing that have nothing to do with what you're actually selling. Now, the next mistake that is leading to some accounts getting terminated, that is something that I never even thought of at the beginning of this journey. Now, this is going to be a little bit different on Etsy versus Amazon, but especially if you are selling on Amazon merch, you really want to be aware of this. And that is, you cannot put anywhere in your listings the implication that any of the profits you make are going to be donated. Now, on the surface, this seems like a really silly thing and like something good that you would want to do. So say you are making shirts for people with breast cancer and you put in your listing that 20% of the profit is going to be donated to this organization. Now, that doesn't seem like anything bad on the surface, but why websites won't let you do this is there is no way for them to verify that you are following through on that promise you are making. So you could promise that you're donating those profits, and then you could just be putting everything in your pocket, and then the shoppers that in good faith made this purchase that you were going to donate the items have no way of knowing that the money really didn't go where you said it was. And Amazon or Etsy, they have no way of verifying that you are following through on this either. So on Amazon, it is strictly forbidden. If you say anything about donating profits, you are going to not get your items approved to be listed. You could actually get your account terminated. It's a little bit more of a gray area on Etsy. There are lots of shops that are for specific purposes. So that you'll just have to do your own research on and decide if you want to include something like that in your shop. But just know, if you're selling specifically on Amazon merch, you definitely cannot imply that any of your profits will be donated anywhere. Now, if you have been looking for a new manufacturing partner, like I mentioned, and you want to get started with Printify, it's really, really easy. I actually have a full walkthrough tutorial right here that's going to show you the full process of getting started there, linking it to your Etsy shop. I highly recommend checking that out. And if you've watched all the way through this video and you are doing these things, you should feel very good that your account is probably set up to be very safe and you're going about this the right way to build a business long term. So kudos to you. I encourage you to continue on with this process, even when other people look like they're taking shortcuts. The best way to build a business is to do it correctly, because you don't want to risk having a business you've grown to multiple 5 or 6 figures and then all of a sudden it just gets taken away one day. So best to do things the correct way from the beginning. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.